Hey, and welcome back to the second part of the audiobook for Snowlit. This is Relaxers here, and this is page 1. A dream. Abby, get the hell up. A pillow was thrown at me. Catching it with my hand, I raised my body from my bed, lazily, threw as my eyes looked over at Sasha standing next to the bed. I groaned and flopped back down onto the bed. I didn't want to get up. It was probably still daylight out anyway. "Sammy!" she yelled as I rolled over and pulled the covers over my head. No, I didn't want to get up. Her hands came over, cold, over my back as she lifted up my shirt along my spine, sending shivers down my body as I grabbed onto her arm and sat up in bed. With a sigh, I yawned, and she pulled herself over on her knees on the bed, kissing me on the lips. "Come on, you have work to do." "But it's a weekend!" I complained out loud as she placed her hands across my shoulders, moving them across. I kissed her again and laughed a little. Well, I guess it was always worth getting up in the morning if this was waiting for me. I sighed and struggled to get up. I looked at my phone from under the pillows and cursed out under my breath. "It's noon! No wonder you woke me up. That meeting I called for the commanders is in 30 minutes!" I tripped over the clothes on the ground and moved past Sasha quickly, hopping into the shower to get ready. Today was the first day of winter in Lockwood Country. We lived on the edge of a mountain range. It was a large wood area with a large lake not far off. Everything past that was dragon territory, and which gave us and me permission to live here. I wasn't exactly normal, so there wasn't much I could do about that. It was the life of a demon like me. "Got everything?" Sasha asked. As I pulled up my red tie, she began brushing my hair back, the black locks catching in the brush as I checked my phone. 10 minutes to get there. How wonderful. "Yeah. Alright, see you after, and I'll tell you how it went, 'kay?" I planted a kiss on her lips and rushed out to the elevator. Standing inside and pressing the button to the basement floor, right below the bottom floor, where me and the other commanders used for meetings and other things. I looked at my phone again. It should be okay, but usually everybody got there early, so I'd be either hear something from Ashley or Alan. Ashley was a spirit fox. She was short, but not a dwarf, standing at 5 feet tall with long, dark brown hair. She had an attitude to match, but was probably the most logical thinker of all the four commanders, including me. She had deep green eyes, matching with the hair that went down to the middle of her back after all. She and I had met in middle school when Earth still existed. She became my supervisor, and then when new leaders were picked, she became a commander along with my brother Alan. Alan was a holy demon, the same as me. Holy demons were a dying race, the only ones left being me, him, our uncle, and his daughter. In which the holy demons were alive, they were the most aggressive race in the universe, with a power almost unbelievably strong. Though I'm much different from my kin. All holy demons had an animal form, because we were sort of related to vampires in a way, having the lust for blood and sharp fangs being one. Mine and Alan's animal forms were wolves, with our uncle and cousins being birds. Alan, standing at 6 feet tall, was a year younger than me being 5'5". His white bleached hair sits just below his ears, and with deep gray eyes. He wore a trench coat half the time, with a slight nick under his left eye, the shape of a cross it seemed. "Abby, you're almost late." There was Ashley. standing at one of the chair at the round table. I ignored her, though, taking my own seat and sitting down as my eyes caught the sight of Dakota and his supervisor. That reminded me. Where was my supervisor? Zephyr should have been here by now. He was usually the first one here, along with Gren, Dakota's supervisor. The Lockwood government... Wait. The way the Lockwood government was, with commanders and supervisors at the very top. While every commander had a supervisor, I was the president, which was the lead commander, and made final decisions. The leaders had a lot of freedom, so supervisors are picked from the military to make sure the commanders didn't do anything stupid. Then everything else was a complicated system that I really didn't feel like going into. The point was, we all ran the country, but in the end, I was the one deciding what was best for our citizens. Gren stood behind Dakota at ease, her tail flicking behind her. Gren was a cat shifter. She wasn't too tall, 5 foot 2 inches, with cat ears and a tail, that it being of a snow leopard. She had deep green eyes, light brown hair, and a very attractive figure, to say the least. The oldest out of all of us at 21 years of age, since Haley, our former commander, died, and that was when Alan took her place. Dakota, on the other hand, was an innocent, cute guy type. He was tall, probably as tall as Alan, with long silver hair and deep blue eyes. He was a fox shifter. He could shift into a small white and gray fox. It was adorable. But him as the commander in general, he was pretty logic. Having a hard pass, he had things under control at most times, meaning I really had nothing to worry about with all of them. You can never be too careful, though. Now, with all of us were sitting, I had to check my clock one more time on my phone. Yet still, Zephyr was not present. I sighed and dragged my hand through the top of my short black hair as my hazel eyes scanned over everyone, before finally standing up. Alright, I want an update on everything. We can each take turns sharing, and I'll go last. Whoever wants to start can. I pushed a hand, sitting down and waiting. As Ashley leaned against the table with one elbow, I smiled at her face. Well, considering someone seems to be in an annoyed mood today, I guess I can go first. I have some good news, at least. Everything in my dimension is going well, and I've been able to speak with Blue. He isn't such a bad guy, and Will does a good job at being the deity of that dimension. Everything is under check, and there has been no unusual signs of anything. Ashley flipped through her papers on the table suddenly. Yep, that's about it for me. Alan scratched the table in a mindless manner, but then looked up at us. Things have been oddly quiet in the letter B dimension. I don't know what it is, but it leaves me unsettled about something. Not that it's an entirely bad thing. People are safe, the world is healing remarkably, but in the way it's right before a storm. So I suggest we keep an eye out for anything unusual. I nodded a hand on my chin and then looked at Dakota as Gren looked away, distracted by something. Well, as interesting as Commander can be in my dimension is, hunters have been showing up more and more, so I need something to warrant their arrest so people can be put on that. Other than that, production is good, as is the parties. So, now it's your turn, Abby. Dakota nodded towards me. Well, how had my month been since we last met? After all, Ellen and Ashley hadn't even come to visit. Wasn't that it worried me. It was that for the fact, as did Alan say, the silent was a very charming thing, especially in our world. Even if we did cherish it, it was an odd thing to have for a long time. I closed my eyes and scratched the side of my face with a finger. Lockwood. Well, Considering it was going to be Christmas soon, everybody has been in the holiday spirit. Things have been festive, but I've been doing so much paperwork I've had no time to throw any parties or anything. The military has been bored out of their minds. Most of the leaders are out sick, which makes me wonder about things. Nothing weird has shown up. It's the first day of winter, and well, everything is good with the dragons, so that's it. I placed my hands on the table and looked at them. Well, everything seemed normal, didn't it? At least with us. Who knew what was going on with everyone else? What about the strange dream I had, too? What was I thinking about that now? Ashley stood up and walked over to me. Well, considering these updates, I think we should allow the warrant for arrest for any hunters causing problems for the Spice and Wolf country. Other than that, I think we would just enjoy the rest of our day here in our hometown. She put her hand on my shoulder. Abby seems to need the relaxation anyway. Leaning back, I smiled with a bit of a laugh. Well, it didn't stop the uneasy feeling within my dead heart, though.